You're listening to I Love This TV Show, The Golden Girls.
The Golden Girls, Season 3, Episode 15, Dorothy's New Friend. Original air date, January 16th, 1988. In this episode, Sophia is making lasagna for a guy at the senior center she has a crush on. Rose rushes in with a horse costume for the masquerade ball, and she's very excited. Dorothy comes in and is not excited at all. She's in a rut. Blanche tries to cheer her up, but it doesn't go well. They inspire her to go to a lecture being given by an author named Barbara Thorndike. Dorothy goes to hear her speak. The next day, Blanche comes home to find Dorothy setting out tea. She learns Barbara Thorndike is coming over, and she is excited to meet her. Rose also learns that Barbara is coming over and is equally excited. Blanche then talks about meeting Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sophia comes back from the senior center with her lasagna, and she's upset. Her gentleman shut her down cold. The doorbell rings, and Barbara has arrived. Introductions take place and don't go smoothly. Barbara then presents Dorothy a book she signed for her. Dorothy exits to get coffee. Blanche tries to strike up a conversation with Barbara by asking her about her brooch, but the conversation goes a bit sideways. Barbara quickly gets standoffish towards both Blanche and Rose. When Dorothy returns, Barbara looks angry and lies about enjoying the lady's company. She then makes an excuse to leave. Blanche and Rose agree they do not like her, and she doesn't like them. Another day in the kitchen, and Blanche is trying to read one of Barbara's books. It's actually Barbara's first book. Blanche asks Dorothy to go to the movies with her and Rose, but Dorothy turns them down. She defends Barbara and her refusal to include Rose and Blanche. The two decide to give Barbara a second chance. Rose tells a St. Olaf story. Blanche loses her patience with Rose, and Rose suggests they invite Barbara Thorndike over for dinner for this second chance. It's now the night of the dinner. Blanche and Rose are not having a good time, but they are trying for Dorothy. Blanche tells Barbara that she picked up her first book the other day, and that all the waves made her seasick. They have a small spat. Sophia joins them, then heads out on a date. Barbara takes her leave as well. Before she leaves, she invites Dorothy to a writer's symposium on Friday night. It's the same night as Rose's ball. Another evening, and Blanche and Rose are doing the dishes and giving Dorothy a taste of her own medicine. Blanche loses her temper and tells Dorothy she does not like Barbara. Rose tells her she doesn't like her either. It all turns into a big fight, and Dorothy storms off. It's another day, and Dorothy has gone to lunch at a writer's hangout with Barbara. Dorothy discusses Blanche and Rose with Barbara and her concerns. Barbara responds that they are limited. She decides to invite them all to the Mortimer Club and their dates. It's now the night of the dinner, and Rose is nervous. Blanche is excited that this club has the wealthiest men in town, and Barbara arrives with a very young date, one of her college students. The doorbell rings again, and it's Sophia's date, Murray Gutman. Barbara informs Dorothy that Murray cannot go to the club because he's Jewish. She informs Dorothy that the club is restricted. Dorothy is shocked that she's a member of a club like this and asks her why. The truth comes out when Barbara informs her she tolerates the rules because she likes the club. She tolerates Blanche and Rose because she likes Dorothy. Dorothy, however, is not interested in being friends with a person like Barbara. She kicks her out. The girls come in the kitchen to check on her after Barbara storms out. They all hug. Favorite quotes. Rose. Look at this great costume I got for the masquerade ball. I can't decide whether to be the front end or the rear end. Blanche. Dorothy, you can't help it if you're dull and boring. God did that to give the world some variety. Otherwise, everyone would be just like me. Blanche. Rose, you can't believe everything they put in that rag. It caters to people of the lowest intelligence. Rose. Then why do you buy it? Blanche. Offering to make him dinner just made you look easy. Too easy. Sophia. Please, black underwear and pasties couldn't make me look easy. Blanche. All those waves, I had to take a Dramamine to get through chapter 3. Barbara. Sophia, your daughter is one of the most beautiful people I've ever met. Sophia. Boy, you writers never stop using your imagination. Dorothy. This from a woman who tells her dates that she was Angie Dickinson's body double in Dress to Kill. Rose. Blanche is right, Dorothy. Barbara is not very nice. I mean, she looks down on everybody except you, and that's only because you look up to her. Blanche. You just don't notice how she uses her intelligence to make everyone else look stupid. Blanche. I think she cares more about words than about people. Dorothy. Boy, did I misjudge you. Blanche and Rose were right. You are not the kind of person I want as a friend. Why don't you go to the Mortimer Club by yourself? Dorothy. After all the practice I've had, I'd be honored to be the horses behind. For me, this is one of the more disturbing episodes in the series. The Barbara Thorndike character. She's just very offensive to me. And I find it quite funny and weird and strange that the lady that plays Barbara Thorndike is the same lady who is married to the guy that plays Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World and is the voice of Knight Rider in the TV show from the 80s, The Car. But I digress. Barbara Thorndike, in short, is an egotistical and narcissistic person who pretty much thinks everybody needs to kiss her butt. She clearly passes judgment on people quite quickly and thinks that most people are beneath her, and I find it just disgusting. Then when we throw in her treatment of Rose and Dorothy, I guess at least she calls Rose by her correct name, but constantly calling Blanche Madge is just really offensive. I'm gonna guess there's some character in a book named Madge who Blanche might remind her of, or it might just be a way for her to put down Blanche in a whole nother way. But honestly, her dismissal and her contriteness and her just downright condescension towards the two, from my perspective, is extremely uncalled for. She's got that weird personality type where she can attract people, maybe sociopath is the right word, and draw them in. She doesn't draw everybody in, but she picks and chooses who she chooses to draw, who she wants to draw in. And in this case, Dorothy was her intended target. And you can see how throughout this whole episode, Barbara's goal is to keep Dorothy separate of Blanche and Rose. And she creates enough tension because Blanche and Rose are trying to tell Dorothy the truth about this woman. And Dorothy has got on the rose-colored glasses and is refusing to see the truth about how this woman is. If you're kissing her butt, then she loves you. But other than that, she doesn't really have any interest in people. Blanche kind of nails it when Blanche says, Barbara Thorndike only cares about words more than people. And it's a very interesting concept, that statement that Blanche makes. But what really disturbs me the most is just how Barbara Thorndike uses that word tolerate at the end of the episode. When Dorothy questions her about the Mortimer Club's policy about being restricted. I'm curious who else this club restricted other than just Jewish people. I'm guessing it's a long list of people who are restricted. And the sad truth of this club is they probably only let rich white people in. And everybody else is shown the door. And that's just disgusting. All places should be public. Everyone should have equal access. The fact that this woman, just because she likes their breakfast, uses that word, tolerates their policy of restriction. To me, that's saying, I tolerate racism, I tolerate bigotry, I tolerate all these negative and evil things. You have the right to stand up and say, no, I'm not going to tolerate this. And not Blanche, but Blanche does too call her out at several times. But Dorothy just finally realizes that this person is not who she has built Barbara up to be. She sees a certain image of Barbara, but who Barbara truly is does not meet that image or that expectation. And in truth, it falls far short of Dorothy's expectation of other human beings. So I think what Dorothy really saw was when this woman said, I tolerate, and I tolerate, and I tolerate. And she goes so far as to say, I tolerate Blanche and Rose out of respect for our friendship. Something along those lines. But the I tolerate Blanche and Rose. Tolerate. I mean, you use that word, in regards to something that's just really annoying, really frustrating, really bothersome. Like, I'm tolerating these bugs flying around my head because I don't have bug spray kind of thing. And it's just like, does she honestly just view Blanche and Rose as these bugs that she is forced to deal with in order to continue to have a friendship with Dorothy? She clearly sees something in Dorothy, but at the same time, she's tricked and manipulated Dorothy into thinking that she's this really great person when she's really, really not. I mean, Barbara Thorndike is really the type of person that nobody wants to hang out with. She is narcissistic, she is egotistical, she tolerates racist and bigoted policies at restricted clubs. I mean, that's just beyond ridiculous. I mean, this woman is just, ugh. And she dates her own students at college. I'm pretty sure that's a violation of college policy at any college. And I don't know how she isn't fired for it or disciplined in some way. I mean, I guess she's only going out with her male college students. And so they're just like, ooh, I'm teacher's pet. This is going to get me a good grade. But I mean, that's a huge ethics violation, no matter how you look at it. You are a teacher, this is your student. It is no different than if it's a situation at work where it's your boss and you going out. That's just inappropriate. Almost everything that comes out of this woman's mouth, her behavior, her actions, they're all inappropriate. They all just go to her ego and her need to constantly pander to her ego. Yeah, I think out of all of the characters that have appeared on this show, other than the doctor, when Dorothy is sick, who dismisses her, this is the character I hate the most. That guy's a close second. But this character just, ooh. I mean, if you literally walked up to a person like this, she would probably give you the chills and just make go, ooh, what did I just walk by? She would leave you very creeped out. Because if she wasn't interested in using you or manipulating you in any way, then she would be evil and harsh to you. The only time you would get her nice side is if she actually wanted something from you. And I don't know which is scarier, that she wants something from you or that she just wants you to get out of her way because she doesn't like you. I mean, it's just a scary person, period. Ooh, yeah, this episode kind of always gives me the heebie-jeebies. And my favorite scene is when Dorothy finally stands up to her at the end and tells her off. I do feel bad for Dorothy because she is the smartest of the three, or even the four when you throw in Sophia, and she also has the highest level of education. But in a situation like this with someone like Barbara Thorndike, having that educational background didn't help her see the truth. Anyone is able to put on a persona, but that persona does not mean that's who they actually are. As the saying goes, looks can be deceiving. And just for the pun of it, don't judge a book by its cover. Thanks for tuning in to the I Love This TV Show podcast. If you would like to make a donation in support of this podcast, you can through Cash App to Pasta26MC. That's pasta like the food, the number 2, the number 6, M as in monkey, C as in cat. If you would like to sponsor this podcast or advertise on it, please send an email to podcast@pastasworld.com. As always, you can go to pastasworld.com for more information.